Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? Um, you know, um, I guess how can I put this here? There are a lot of people that I am not. Sometimes I have to remind myself of this. There are a lot of people that I am not, and one of the people I am not. There's two kinds of people I am not. One one kind of person is one of the taxi drivers on the TV show Taxi, who in one episode showed all the other guys, all the other taxi drivers, his house and how many TVs he had and how many different channels he could have on at once. And that was what he spent all his money on, was those TVs. And that was his life. And at the end of that episode, the camera just kind of zoomed out slowly, and as everyone left, it was just the guy sitting in by himself with all the TVs. And that show, that memory always stuck with me for some reason. More than most everything else that was ever shown in that TV show, Taxi. And it's a great TV show, and a lot of times you don't know about that show unless were alive in the 80s and stuff, the 70s, or I don't know. Well, I think it was offhand. I think it was early 80s or whatever. But Tony Danza and Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd and Andy Kaufman and some other guys. The other kind of person I am not is the kind of person that sits at a computer and plays video games all day. No, I have done that before, but I was 22 at the time maybe, and I was going through some crud, kind of, yeah. And I haven't really done that. I mean, I suppose there have been days when that's all I've done, but it's been a while since I've done that, and it's only really ever been the case to have that be the case for one day, really be in gaming, or most of a day. I haven't done that for a long time. I guess the thing about life, this is one of the funny things about life, is that there are things that can take the edge off, right? Many things that we can do that help us to feel like we can just go to sleep and have a new day the next day and be okay. There are many things like that that help us be able to do that, and um, many things. Um, but it's just that when, for whatever reason, if you make changes, hopefully positive changes in your life in this regard, things that help take the stress, the anxiety off, the whatever, relaxing things, whatever. I don't know. Whatever it is that if you can make that change, if you're changing what it is you're doing, and by saying this, I'm also saying whatever I'm going to be changing, right? It's it's sometimes not always something that really always works, or is always a very effective swapping kind of thing. Because let's just chat really quick about what sorts of things truly relax a person. I'm going to talk about myself here. At least, what kinds of things really do make me feel less stressed out and and help me be in a more happy place, right? Where what are go to my happy place, right? Well, to be honest, if I am composing melodies, just writing them down on staff paper, that actually is very therapeutic for me. Very much so. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've got to. It's like art for some people, or creative writing. When I'm actually composing at the computer, I'm actually not just the melody, but you're doing all kinds of stuff. You're thinking about orchestration. You're thinking about dynamics, your notation, the computer program itself. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thought processes, thousands going on. So it's not really therapeutic. It's more like, it's more like you get a mental workout a little bit. Yeah. So it's definitely very intellectually engaging, but it's not especially relaxing. I mean, even there's certainly things that are more relaxing than composing or creative writing or art, you know, for me. But okay, so there are the things that you could do that you actually, when you're done, like, oh, this was actually a productive use of time, right? Parents like to say productive use of time. This is a productive thing. Right? There's some things that are just recreational, yes, like watching TV and playing video games. But video games, I still believe, have redeeming aesthetic qualities, but not really too many of them do. But those that do, I know what they are, and those are the ones to play. But I have mentioned this in many other videos before, so I'm probably sound like a broken record a little bit by this point. But so, but yeah, it's things like eating ice cream or eating pizza and hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff. Let's just say hot dogs, though, or yeah, I keep my hot dog consumption very low, and hamburgers are more the way to go, but they're not always a very common thing that you should be eating. And all the other types of, not so super healthy, meals and that sort of thing. Um, Junk food and stuff, and candy and soda and chips, and you know, just go down the list of all the stuff that's really enjoyable to eat, but it's not super healthy. Or just kind of in the middling healthy range. Then there's sleep, which is very important, and baths. I'm very fond of taking baths, hot baths, and getting a massage, and some people, I could never relax when I'm driving. I mean, yes, if it's like there's no traffic, sure, but yeah, it's not pleasant driving. But there are certainly many things that are worse than driving in bad traffic. But of course, if you're running late to something that you have to be on time for, that's terrible. It's like, oh my gosh, I hate that situation. And by the way, this is one of many things that really irks a lot of people in the, performing arts and classical music. I don't want to get into that subject. So, um, other things that are relaxing, though. I mentioned video games. I'll mention them again. But for a lot of people, it's not fantasy adventure games. It's arcade games, or it's little stupid little. Okay, I shouldn't have said stupid. No, but it's the little gimmicky games, right? I don't know why so many people find those things so addictive and relaxing. I mean, some things can be addictive, yes. I'm just, I mean, I have on my, okay, on my phone, my Android here. Guess how many games I have? One. There's one game I have right now currently, and it's different than Tetris. It's not Tetris, but it's kind of fun. It has to do with different sizes and colors of blocks and things, and it's it's intellectually stimulating enough that I like it. I don't know how long I'll have it. I have a high score of over 50,000 in some game, and it's pretty impressive. I think he did a pretty good job on it. But the people that are getting million, high scores in the millions, and so I'm just like, I have no concept how to. I don't know how they did that. I have no way. They must have been playing it for an entire day. It's just mind blowing, or more than that. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. Um, but yeah, I mean, like what else is relaxing? I mean, going for a nice walk, right? Maybe, pleasant conversations, and there's probably other things I'm just again not thinking of right now. When your mom makes you chocolate pudding or whatever, lemon pudding or lemon custard, whatever. When you have something that is very soul satisfying, soothes the soul. What else can soothe the soul? Good music, right? That you listen to. Um, Being in a beautiful place, being around nice people. I don't know. It's you know the idea of a vacation is also very interesting because, to be honest, okay, this is a little bit different train of thought. I didn't know I'd go here, but one of the worst things, one of the worst jobs you could have, I suppose, is definitely retail because people treat you like crap. It's just the way it is, absolute crap. And I mean, really, and you're not valued as an employee. Not really, no. I mean, many bosses are just tyrants. It's just it's terrible, just terrible. And the longer you're in those jobs, it's just I don't know. So you know, I expect. Well, anyway, what did I say? Sorry, folks, it's getting a little bit late. I'm trying to. What was I about to say? Um. Oh yeah. Okay. So as I am teaching private lessons, have been for some time now, quite some time. I enjoy what I do, definitely. Oh, it's not. It's definitely not always very. There are some things that are less fun about it. It's true, especially when you actually drive to each student's home. But the nice thing is that there's also the payoff of um, learning about different cultures, and the kids are more relaxed in their house instead of nervous in a music studio. But they're so the driving is not fun, but the parents appreciate it. They always do. They should. I'm sure they do. But it's I try to keep the driving not too long, too far of a distance. But I definitely enjoy what I'm doing. Oh, heck, infinitely more than retail, of course. And so the question comes up: is what I do relaxing like a vacation? I mean, there is teacher burnout. It does exist, but there's definitely retail. If there is burnout for anything, it's definitely retail, man. Oh wow, retail and warehouse work both. Serious burnout. Oh man, I could not imagine working for Amazon. That would suck to high heaven. I don't know how those guys do what they do. Just you have no life except for Amazon. I can't say enough bad things about that company. And I encourage you guys to not put give them very much money. Well, I'll just put it that way. Consider doing business elsewhere. Just consider it. It's one of the most unethical companies I've ever. They're far more unethical than Microsoft ever was. Microsoft was they're saintly compared to Amazon. But anyway, um, so that's what I said. What do I really need a vacation? Me. Do I get teacher burnout? Do I get stressed out? I usually get stressed out by things outside of actually teaching, though. I don't like get stressed out by teaching so much. When you're trying to manage kids' behaviors, especially if you're a public school teacher or if you're working with very unruly kids, Yeah, I mean, over a period of time, that can definitely that can definitely be tough. Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And it can be stressful again trying to get to everybody's houses on time if you try driving around, and then it can also be as far as like the some of the other things like weird parents or weird ideas that parents have about piano lessons or just the whole contract. Or do you make someone do a year, whatever else, or half a year? You have them sign a contract, and are you going to take them to court if they're not going to? I have my I don't I've I just don't want to deal with that, so I don't do that stuff. But I mean, it's stressful though when you have. It can be stressful when you have less committed students, or when you have parents that have very odd ideas about how they think music lessons ought to be. And I shouldn't have to be the one to explain to parents that whatever conceptions they have of music lessons isn't necessarily how music lessons really ought to be. And it's okay if they have them. It's okay if they want to think, oh man, I remember having to do these not so fun things, but it made my fingers stronger. So I'm going to have my kid just duke it out. They'll be okay. And, they'll be a better musician, a better pianist. But we understand if you have to be a little bit tough on your kid because, like, no, wait, hold on. Like, I just want to say to some of these parents, your kids have their whole lives to play the piano or play the French horn. Their whole lives. If they want to be the very best players in the world, as I mentioned this before in an earlier video, yeah, they probably want to be super naturally skilled. They probably want to be practicing at every spare moment they can, and they probably want, yeah, and they're working in all kinds of technique all day. Because when you're going to college, that's what you were doing is you're doing technique, and you're doing solos that improve your technique and scales and stuff like that. Everything is most of what you're doing is just not very pleasing or enjoyable. It just isn't. You're probably playing really stinking hard stuff. It's just hard, hard. It is hard with a capital H, and the rest of the whole word HARD, hard. And so that's why most people don't get quite that far. It's the difficulty of it, and they have higher priorities. As I mentioned in another video. But I just want to say to these parents, I mean, it's just if your kid is just not doing it, let's figure something else out. If you want to keep, and I would like it if you kept doing lessons. Let's go a different route. There's always different routes you can go, and eventually you get to the point where you're just working on the hard stuff, right? Okay, but that might not be until your kid is 20 years old, when he's truly challenged, and he's working in hard stuff. I would rather that all of my students um, first enjoy, then work their butts off. But that's kids. That's kids. Teens, it's a little bit more, slightly more of a balance, but still more enjoy than work their tail off. But for adults that want to be music majors, that want to be paid in some capacity, it has to be work your tail off, then enjoy. And maybe this is just one of the things that most people don't realize about music lessons, for instance, is that, yeah. Anyway, I think I made my point there, but my overarching train of thought with all this is, I really don't have it that bad. one of the better things in my life is my job. It is, and so there's a question of, so there's also the question of, do I really need a vacation? And and is my work in a way, or is my composition, or if I'm doing my own projects, is that a vacation? Or what truly defines a vacation? Can you just take a vacation and just stay at your place and not go anywhere? Okay, yeah. Are there places I want to go to? We keep hearing about all this crud everywhere. Like it doesn't matter where you want to go. Every destination has its downside almost. It's like when I mention any country to my family, to my parents, my mom and dad, they always have something negative to say about it, as well as something positive. But it's always both. Now, if I said someplace that they both agreed had nothing wrong with it, absolutely nothing, where do you think that would be? And these are my parents are talking about. Well, it'd probably be Temple Square in Salt Lake City. There's nothing wrong with Temple Square in Salt Lake City, right? Except, no, anyway. So it's like, yeah, that sounds like, oh, I know it would be great job. But I want to go on roller coasters, and I want to go to Europe, and I want to see all these great old things and art things and music things, and I want to go into deep forests and go explore Germany, and I want to, Britain and Scotland and castles, and then of course there's East Asia, and then all the old temples and Buddhist shrines and stuff, and then I want to go to the Himalayas maybe, or I want to go to the Alps and play some Alpenhorns, and and then back to America, maybe Mexico. I don't know, go have some tropical fruit somewhere, and maybe get stung by some tropical bees, and be in some serious pain, and live to survive and tell a tale. And sure, and then I'm thinking about all this good stuff, and then meanwhile somebody doesn't have to be my parents. Somebody's gonna come along and say, "Oh man, you shouldn't go there," right? I hate to say this, folks. Yeah, we shouldn't go to China. Not just we shouldn't go to China because yes, the Beijing Chinese government's jacked up, but we shouldn't go to China because people are dying over there from the coronavirus. Not just China, but apparently Korea too. Oh yeah, there goes Korea. Gosh, man, and I like Korea. What gives? Holy cow! So it's like, so then the question comes up: should I really consider going on vacations? And my family always plans some family vacation. I mean, if my job is pretty enjoyable as it is, even though there's still teacher burnout, and I still have some certain time off, I can relax. Is that sufficient for me? Do I really need a vacation? Well, and is what I'm doing to relax, is that truly relaxing me right now? Or am I really missing something and it's driving me nuts? I don't know. It's hard to know. It's always hard to know for me really more accurately what is I mean, it's always hard to know how truly stressed out I am. Or it's always hard to know how hard I'm really working. Am I overworking myself? Am I overexerting myself? It's always hard to know how I'm doing emotionally, in an internal sense. You know, it's not. These things are not easy to really know. It's not like I can just stick something in my body, and it says, "Oh, you're stressed out. You need a vacation." You know, what do you look at? Look at heart rate, blood pressure. Do you have a big, huge medical, physical type thing? Does a psychologist ask a bunch of questions? You have to pay him a whole ton of money for the hour, whatever it took to have the session. you know, one thing I could definitely say, for darn sure, one of the most relaxing things for me is still watching things on YouTube, because it's completely free and there's so much on it. I think I've become somewhat dependent on YouTube. Somewhat. Before YouTube, in terms of that kind of avenue of relaxation, there was video games that were better. They truly were better. I don't play hardly anything recent unless it's I just don't. And you have to get a new computer, and you have to it's just stupid, or a new video game system, and it just who needs it? But then there was TV, right? When TV was good, you know, movies. But if you get a movie collection, it's like all the movies. You want other movies that you don't have in your library. So buying movies is just often not what it's cracked up to be. I know. Because you see it once, you're like, oh, I've seen it. So the movie has to be rewatchable. Same thing with video game. You buy a video game, you want to be able to play it more than once. You really do. I don't know. Depends on anyway. Yeah, and of course there's the types of food that are relaxing, and there's, I don't know. For me, this is kind of a weird thing about how I am. I don't know why I do this, but I make lists of stuff on paper. And sometimes to be able to organize your thoughts on paper, to me, is extremely therapeutic and relaxing. Like, brainstorming or that sort of thing. It just does something for me that few other things do for me. And I don't know. If I can put something on paper, whatever I can put on paper like that in terms of thoughts, I just can see it like, oh, okay, this is all right, and it kind of reaffirms to me looking at it, whatever it was I was really thinking about. If it's all in your brain, all in your mind, that's fine. It can be frustrating though. If the more you want to get it all out there on paper, sometimes this is just the way I think sometimes, but it's like it's different, I guess. I don't know. You can always tell when a composer is more like me or has that kind of personality. It's more like me, as opposed to someone who's just super always organized and just, I don't know, different. Because you actually, if it's like you can hear these kinds of things in someone's music. If someone's really really, um, we'll just say somebody kind of like Egon from the Ghostbusters. If someone's like just really sciencey and whatever number cruncher, their music will sound like sciencey number crunchy. On some level, it will. And if someone is preferring to think about different shapes of flowers and fruits and colors and gemstones and you know yeah, you're gonna hear all that artsy stuff, and I say artsy, I mean really nice artsy stuff. You can pretty stuff. You're gonna hear that in the composer's music. um I don't know. So I know I'm talking about again a fair bit of stuff here. This might be the last video I make tonight, probably. um Kind of went through a little bit of an arc here in this one. It's just mentioning YouTube, by the way, and it just seems you guys will be maybe surprised when you hear this. There are some folks that can listen to and be especially, um, it can be especially relaxing. It can be calming. And one of the oddest choices for this, actually, is George Carlin. Is George, again, some people think he's liberal or he's really not friendly toward religion, and he's not. And he didn't care much for my church, at least in a way. He doesn't have any beefs with Mormons, or he doesn't have any beefs with people personally. He just doesn't trust religion. He doesn't trust anyway. But aside from all that, see, Carlin isn't really a liberal. He's especially independent-minded. I suppose he leans to the left politically, but who really cares these days? As long as you're not in favor of the Illuminati, you're still somebody I can respect, right? So, That's what it is. If you know, and if you're, I don't want to get into if somebody's unknowingly supporting the Illuminati or not. If someone actually is going to the Bohemian Grove and they're donating money to, like the Skull and Bone Society and stuff, I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with that kind of person. But anyway, but um, train of thought here. It's getting late. I know. Sorry, folks. No, it's just that there's some people that can be very relaxing to listen to, and George Carlin, for some reason, is one of them. Where he talks about a lot of subjects, and it's not every subject. Some subjects, some things I really don't really care for as much, but majority of what he says, the majority of how he says it, it's how he says it. It's like Carlin doesn't want to come across. I mean, even when he got older and grumpier, right? And he was just like, brr. He said it in a way where, you know, it, he's like, so, he likes to poke fun at Americans that like to buy all the fancy stuff and go to the big malls. And, he sometimes rakes people over the coals. Even if you feel raked over the coals, he still makes it known that it's not just you that he's raking over the coals, it's other people as well. It's other attitudes. Or it's a lot of things. It's not just you, or it's not just things that you might ascribe to yourself that he's talking about. But you never feel like he's really coming down on you. And it really is funny. I don't know what it is. Not a whole lot of people are like that are comedians to me. Most comedians are nasty on some level. I don't know. And then there's just, I don't know. There's other things that are very relaxing about other kinds of videos. I mean, some people love to listen to Bob Ross, watch him paint. That can definitely be relaxing. Definitely, right? And there's a guy that does these Bob Ross political things, right? I watch him more for humor rather than to relax. But if someone's definitely being funny, but their politics is agreeing with you, whatever it is, conservative, liberal, whatever, or something else, that can be very relaxing. I can tell you what isn't relaxing. One of the things that is not relaxing to me at all is watching a YouTuber, a guy that has this annoying voice, or too loud, or they're too just whatever. Like watching PewDiePie, not relaxing. Sorry, folks. I'll watch this